We're tracking 72 hours of deadly violence as we come on the air tonight. Toledo had 6 homicides over the holiday weekend, marking nearly 30% of the total homicides for the year so far. Welcome into WTOL 11 at 11. I'm Kaylee Maritet.
I'm Dan Cummins in for Jeff. Here's the aftermath. 6 people are dead from 5 separate incidents. The victims range in age from 17 to 37.
The first crime scene was a stabbing on the east side Friday morning just before 4 a.m. The last, a shooting in North Toledo just after 4 yesterday morning. As it stands right now, 4 people have been arrested in 2 of the deadly weekend crimes. TPD has not named any suspects in the 4 other incidents.
42956, circle 3 for a person stabbed.
The first call came in just before 4 Friday morning. A person stabbed on Plymouth Street in East Toledo.
Female caller states her boyfriend is stabbed. I'm trying to get additional. I'll give it to you en route. 605 Plymouth, code 3420.
Toledo police found 35-year-old Marcus White stabbed 5 times. He was dead before emergency crews could get him to treatment. The first of 6 homicides over the 4th of July holiday weekend.
Some people will say, well, it's really hot out. People are hot and they're agitated, or it's 4th of July weekend, and 4th of July weekend's always busy. But to have a weekend like we've just had, I don't think that you can put your finger on exactly what causes that type of activity, what causes it to flare up in the way that it did over the last 2 to 3 days.
TPD later arrested 35-year-old Paris Johnson. He's charged with murder and felonious assault.
611 610, person shot, code 3, Baden South.
Just about 12 hours later, on Baden in South Toledo, police say 3 teens shot and killed 17-year-old Jason Bennett. The suspects, 13, 14, and 17 years old.
You can have conversations with high school kids. When you sometimes see the light bulb go off too. So with that, we got to have more conversations. And we've got to challenge them a little more, and we've got to be a little more stricter on them.
2 young men died from gun violence the next morning. Saturday, just after midnight, police say someone shot 20-year-old Salvador Ruiz. TPD found him inside a car on Platt Street, again in East Toledo.
We're hoping and praying that this past weekend is kind of just a one-off, and this isn't a trend that continues for the rest of the summer.
Minutes later, another call. Another shooting in East Toledo.
122-217 for a code 3, person shot. Person on line says friend is shot. Unknown who shot him.
TPD found 20-year-old Amir Thomas Clare shot in a vehicle on Nevada. An autopsy revealed he died from a gunshot wound to the back. A second person was critically injured.
So you've got to target this, I would say, 15 to 35 age group. They need resources now. They need to have those hard conversations, and they need to know that they'll be held accountable. Because if we don't start targeting them, as we teach our 3-year-olds to our 15-year-olds, because we don't want this next generation to come up and repeat. We got to break the cycle.
Then, Sunday morning, 1 a.m.
105, we have a couple people down, but they need to 2 light spot.
Just got a report, no information on suspect, just heard multiple gunshots.
Shots ring out near Agenda Sports Bar and Grill on Matzinger in North Toledo. In all, TPD found 4 people shot. 31-year-old Christopher Bourne, the second, and 37-year-old Stefan Garrett died. Bourne shot in the head, Garrett in the back. Toledo Mayor Wade Kapsakavage released a statement reading in part, "These incidents are not connected, but together they tell a heartbreaking story. A story of too many families grieving, a story of trauma that stretches far beyond the victims." He goes on to say, "Toledo is grieving. We all feel the weight of what happened this weekend because we all know it is unacceptable." Our camera has caught up with the Lucas County Commissioner, Anita Lopez, this evening. While Lopez says she was out of town over the weekend, her thoughts are with the families impacted by this violence.
So Toledo, I know sometimes we have a small community. We're so blessed. And, my condolences, it's a sad time. My condolences to the family. But it's great to have a smaller town and smaller, less lives lost. So gun violence is a problem across our country. And I think that put things in perspective for me. But our condolences to the families and the lost loved ones.
That violence has now left many people on edge. Today, our Steve Iwanek spoke with neighbors near several of the crime scenes. And Steve, there's a lot of fear and uncertainty tonight. What did neighbors have to tell you?
Well, Dan, one woman I spoke to tells me this is not the first time that she's ever felt unsafe on her own street. In fact, she's even considered moving before. And that was a common theme that we heard tonight, is that there's little confidence that anything can be done to solve the violence.
And I really do not feel safe in my own neighborhood anymore.
Kathy Allred has called Nevada Street in East Toledo her home for over 40 years. She says it used to be quiet, but in the past 5 years, things have taken a turn.
It's terrifying because there's a lot of older people that would just like to be, you know, in their homes and live out the rest of their life. And I've actually considered moving.
From her front porch, Allred says she saw the aftermath of one of 6 homicides at Rock Toledo over the holiday weekend. Police found 20-year-old Amir Thomas Clare shot inside a car. His death was ruled a homicide, and a second person was critically injured. This homicide marks the 21st of the year. At this point last year, there were 18, and none over the 4th of July holiday. And in all, about 29% of all Toledo's homicides this year happened this past weekend.
I don't know if you're ever going to be able to stop it. It's bad to say. The president of the United States can't stop it.
Vita Clark has seen violence in her neighborhood, too. Just across from her Central Toledo home at Smith Park, police say a large party spiraled out of control early Sunday morning. Officers were called about people with guns. And according to a report, quote, police deployed pepper balls into the grounds surrounding the fighting individuals. No one was arrested. But for Clark, the answer to stopping violent crime starts with keeping guns out of the wrong hands.
We want to make sure that Toledo is as good as it can be, but there is no solution as long as there are going to be guns, and you know that little kids have guns, they're going to school with guns and all that. It is not going to change.
Now, out of those 6 homicides this weekend, so far, Toledo police have only have made arrests in 2 cases, and they did not make any arrests in that Smith Park case. And that's because, according to the police report, there was a large number of individuals involved, and also due to the volatility of the situation. In downtown Toledo, Steve Iwanek, WTOL 11.
All right, thanks, Steve. If anyone has any information on any of these crimes this past weekend, you can call or text Crime Stoppers. Remember, you can remain anonymous and you could be eligible for a cash reward. These are developing situations that we are continuing to follow. For more coverage on these events and the latest information, you can follow us on WTOL.com or download our free news app.